Well, greetings to you. You will probably have noticed that the German economy is flushing itself down the Kazi, and they brought a lot of it on themselves. So let me just make one or two observations, if I may, because Germany was a major economy in Europe, and it was the driver for Europe, the economic driver for Europe and the European Union. Now, the problem is, first of all, they were building their industrial base on relatively cheap energy, which came from Russia, as we all know. Another thing we all know is that the Americans blew up the pipeline. We know that really, don't we? But nobody's allowed to say so for some extraordinary reason. And of course, now the Americans are saying, oh, buy our gas, buy our petrol, so on and so forth. You've got to laugh, really, haven't you? But well, they would say that, wouldn't they? But on a serious note, you cannot have a manufacturing industry if your energy is expensive. And it's the same here. It might surprise you to know that Great Britain is still a fairly major manufacturing country. We're in the top 10 of manufacturers, and of course it's not necessarily big industrial base, it's small companies and medium-sized companies. And if you don't believe me, I suggest you dig out, if you possibly can, a wonderful programme, a wonderful series called Made in Britain, and you'll be astonished just what we make all over the country and make it well. Quality stuff. However, you have to help our businesses, and that doesn't mean subsidies. It means that you have to make sure they get cheap and reliable energy. Net zero is hamstringing business because they can't afford the electricity, and we have now the most expensive electricity in Europe, or certainly very close to it. Very, very, very expensive indeed. We also have employment laws which beg a belief. Maternity leave, paternity leave, bereavement leave, minimum wages, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And small and medium-sized companies just can't cope with all this, especially with increasing energy prices and VAT at 20% on sales. And so it goes on. I quote again Lord Salisbury. I go back to 1890, and he quoted, "It is the job of Parliament. It is the job of Parliament to facilitate the entrepreneurial spirit of the British nation. That is the role of Parliament, not to micromanage it or actually put problems in its way to succeed." We can't go on like this. We're going to end up, if we're not careful, absolutely everything, every manufactured good, whether it's everything from big steel, chemicals, automobiles or whatever, being made abroad, being made in the Far East. And we've done it to ourselves. We've done it to ourselves. And Germany is the first country to go down the lavatory, and we're all going to follow it very quickly, I'm afraid, until somebody gets a grip. And the problem we have, I think you'll agree, is that we don't have anybody in the British cabinet at the moment who's ever been in business. They've never had a real job. How can we dig ourselves out of this hole with a kind of muppets that are in charge? As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based. And I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.